What is the hunger within us? When a human being comes into the world, they do not merely begin life. They are born into a separation. They do not know this at first. They cannot name it. They cannot remember what they were separated from. They cannot explain what they are longing for. They cannot understand where the incompleteness inside them comes from. Yet that incompleteness is there. As a child, they mistake it for hunger. They mistake it for fear. They mistake it for loneliness. They want care. They want a voice. They want touch. They want to be seen. Then the human being grows. The body grows. Language develops. The mind learns how to calculate. They find a place inside life. They build a name, a job, a circle, an order. Yet that old emptiness inside never falls completely silent. No matter how much a person grows, they carry a longing they cannot fully explain. Everyone gives this longing a different name. Some call it soul. Some call it essence. Some call it source. Some call it inner voice. Some simply say, "There is something inside me that remains unfinished." The name changes. The feeling does not. A human being is born into a separation. Then, throughout life, they try to lower the voice of that separation. They attach themselves to a person. They attach themselves to a home. They attach themselves to work. They attach themselves to success. They attach themselves to applause, status, money, and desire. Each of these has its own value. A person can love. A person can work. A person can earn. A person can succeed. A person can bond with another human being. A person can follow a dream. The issue is not having these things. The issue begins when a person uses them to silence the ancient separation within. Because a human being does not always live the world. They begin to distract themselves with the world. They run. They try to arrive. They try to fix something. They try to complete something. They try to appear valuable in someone else's eyes. They wait for a door to open. They wait for a word to be spoken. They wait for a wish to come true. And they say to themselves, "If this happens, I will be complete. If someone loves me, I will be complete. If this work succeeds, I will be complete. If this money comes, I will be complete. If this house becomes mine, I will be complete. If this success arrives, I will be complete. If this wish is accepted, I will be complete. If this door opens, I will be complete." A person thinks the emptiness inside can be covered by an event outside. Yet nothing that comes from the outside can fully complete a person who has not awakened within. Because what they call emptiness is not merely absence. It is the trace of a separation they can no longer remember. A person tries to cover that trace with money. Money comes. The trace remains. A person tries to cover that trace with love. Love comes. The trace remains. A person tries to cover that trace with success. Success comes. The applause ends. The trace still waits inside. A person tries to cover that trace with belief. If the tongue believes while the heart remains asleep, that trace still does not fall silent. Because what a human being truly seeks is not only a result. What they truly seek is the gathering of what has been scattered inside. A person thinks they are finding something in the world. In truth, they are searching for a sound that can quiet the longing within them for a short while. That is why a person who becomes excessively attached to someone may not only be loving that person, they may be loving the silence of their own incompleteness in that person's presence. When a person clings too tightly to success, they may not only want to succeed, they may believe that success will silence the voice of worthlessness inside them. When a person gives too much meaning to money, they may not only want to become rich, they may want to feel safe, to avoid falling, to avoid needing anyone. When a person ties their whole existence to the fulfillment of a wish, they may not only want that wish, they may want to believe that life has answered them. The human being looks at what is outside. The heart searches for the meaning behind it. That is why the human search in the world is not a simple search. Deep down, it carries an older, quieter, more rooted longing. The world makes this longing forgotten. Crowds make it forgotten. Work makes it forgotten. Phones make it forgotten. Screens make it forgotten. Calculations, plans, expectations, ambitions, and fears make it forgotten. The more occupied a person becomes, the better they think they are. When silence comes, the emptiness inside begins to speak again. That is why a person runs from silence. They run from being alone. They run from turning inward. Because inside a human being, there are not only thoughts, there are postponed confrontations, there are silenced questions, there are unnamed longings, there is an ancient separation covered by the noise of the world. A person scatters themselves outward in order not to hear that separation. They work more, they speak more, they consume more, they display more, they want more. Desires multiply. The emptiness inside does not shrink, because the longing inside a human being is not a gap that can be closed simply by possessing more. That longing is a call rising from within, asking the person to return to themselves. When a person does not notice this, they misread the world. They mistake the person they love for the source. Yet that person is only a mirror. They mistake the money they earn for safety, yet money is only a tool. They mistake the status they reach for value, yet status is only a temporary place. They mistake the applause they hear for existence, yet applause is only a sound coming from outside. The more a person turns an external thing into an absolute, the farther they drift from their own center. The more meaning they place on something, the more they begin to revolve around it. Then a person thinks they are at the center of their own life. In truth, they are revolving around their fears and attachments. This is where the great deception of the world begins. A person thinks they are free because they think they are choosing, they think they are wanting, they think they are running, they think they are giving direction. Yet what moves a person is not always desire. It is the effort not to hear their own incompleteness. They want to arrive somewhere, because remaining where they are with themselves feels heavy. They want to hold on to someone, because standing within themselves feels difficult. They want to possess things, because believing in the value of their bare existence feels hard. And so, the human being covers the first separation inside them with the occupations of the world. Daily life thickens this covering. The more occupied a person becomes, the less they hear the voice within. The more they possess, the more complete they think they are. The more approval they receive, the more real they think they have become. Yet the ancient longing inside a human being cannot be fully silenced by any external voice. A moment comes. The crowd is not enough. Success is not enough. Money is not enough. Love is not enough. Applause is not enough. A person still feels that one place inside remains empty. This emptiness is not a punishment. This emptiness is a deep call within the human being. Because the human being does not belong only to the outer world. A person is not only their body, their name, their work, or what they possess. A person lives as if they have come from a deeper place. A person longs as if they belong to a deeper place. A person searches for a deeper meaning. That is why a person does not only want to live, they want to live meaningfully. They do not only want to be loved, they want to be truly seen. They do not only want to succeed, they want the value inside them to be confirmed. They do not only want to believe, they want to awaken inside what they believe. The difference begins here. A person does not have to abandon the things outside. A person does not have to run away from the world. A person does not have to give up loving, working, creating, or wanting. The real issue is not leaving the world. The real issue is not putting the world in place of the emptiness within. A person can love as long as they do not turn the one they love into a cure for their incompleteness. A person can earn as long as they do not turn what they earn into proof of their value. A person can succeed as long as they do not turn success into the only meaning of their existence. A person can believe as long as they do not turn belief into habit instead of awakening. Because the real question is not what a person possesses. The real question is why they are attached to it. Holding on to something and loving it are not the same thing. Love expands the human being. Attachment narrows the human being. Love keeps a person alive. Attachment ties a person to fear. Love opens a person to the world. Attachment condemns a person to the panic of loss. When a person does not notice the first separation inside them, they turn everything they love into shelter. They mistake every desire for salvation. They see every goal as a gate to completion. Then they place too much weight on the world. They place meanings on a person that no person can carry. They place hopes on a job that no job can carry. They place safety on money that no money can carry. They place value on success that no success can carry. They place destiny on a wish that no wish can carry. And the world becomes tired. The human being becomes tired too, because no external thing can take the place of awakening within. When a person understands this, the world does not become an enemy. The world finds its proper place. Money becomes a tool. Success becomes an experience. A relationship becomes an encounter. Loss becomes a teacher. Silence becomes a door. Solitude becomes a mirror. A person no longer runs away from external things. They do not worship them either. They simply see. They see that everything the world gives is temporary. They see that everything the world takes does not destroy them. They see that the longing inside them cannot be closed by external objects. They see that what they search for is not only possession, but awakening. Then the gaze of the human being changes. They shout less. They try to prove less. They cling less. They feel more deeply. Because they now understand the incompleteness inside a person does not come from the lack of external things. It comes from falling away from one's own essence. And this distance cannot be closed by having more. This distance finds meaning when a person returns to themselves. A human being is born into a separation. To forget this separation, they scatter themselves into the world. They try to distract themselves with the world's work, desires, fears, and promises. Yet there is a place inside the human being that does not fall silent. That place whispers, what you are searching for is not only outside. What you are searching for is in the part of you waiting to awaken. Perhaps this is the whole journey of the human being, to be called inward while thinking they are searching outside, to hear themselves more clearly as they simplify, while thinking possession will complete them, to notice again the voice rising from their essence while being distracted by the world. Because a person does not come into the world only to live. A person also comes to remember. To remember what? That their value is greater than what they possess. That their existence comes before applause. That the longing within them cannot be fully closed by anything temporary in the world. And that the source they seek does not begin in external objects, but in the awakening within. When a person sees this, separation stops being only pain, it becomes recognition. Because when a person understands the first separation inside them, they begin to read all their attachments in the world again. They see what they truly love. They see what they hold on to out of fear. They see what they mistook for value. They see what they placed in the position of the self. And in the end, they understand this. A person is not incomplete because they lost something in the world. A person feels incomplete because they have moved away from their own essence. That is why the noise of the world can distract a person for a long time, yet it cannot fully silence the longing within, because certain calls do not come from outside. They rise from within. And on the day a person hears that call, they begin to change the name of what they have been searching for. They no longer call it only love. They no longer call it only success. They no longer call it only money. They no longer call it only destiny. They no longer call it only a wish. They look deeper, and they understand. Beneath all these searches, there is only one question. What did I break away from, and what am I trying to return to? This is where the awakening of the human being begins.